Welcome to the EOB podcast, where we discuss the weekend box office and the new openings this week. I am Ben No, and joining me is Sen Duong. So let's begin. Sen, are you there?
Yep, here.
All right. Welcome to another podcast. So, have you seen the new Terminator Genesis trailer that came out?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like another Terminator movie.
Okay. Before you get into that, let me ask you a question. Is Arnold back?
I don't know. You barely see any of them. You know, they show you a couple clips of him when he was younger, and then I guess the guy who jumped off the helicopter at the end is him. It's the newer, older Arnold. But
right.
I don't know. It's hard to say because I don't think Arnold is back or will be back just because his recent string of films have all bombed and they bombed pretty badly.
Yeah, but do you think this one will save his bacon, so to speak?
I don't know. It looks like a very generic Terminator movie.
Isn't it?
It looks like here comes there's nothing special about it. They have younger people, but that's about it.
Right. I mean, to me, it feels like they're trying to remake Terminator 1 and 2. Excuse me. They're trying to combine the movie, and they're basing the story on that, and then kind of like deviate that sort of thing a bit, and just inserting an old Arnold Schwarzenegger. In it.
To connect the whole thing together.
Right. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to work out to me. That's my feeling. It sounds like it's one of those more recent remakes, like one of the other recent remakes. Which one was that? The one where he went to Mars, Total Recall?
Yeah, Total Recall. Yeah.
It seems kind of like that. Even though it has like this one has Arnold in it, it just feels entirely
derivative.
It doesn't feel entirely fresh because like there's the recent TV show, with
I feel like I'm watching a segment in Conan. There's a segment with Andy Victor where he just puts in an image and he goes, remember this, remember that. And it's pretty much that. It's like, hey, remember the chrome guy who turns into these cool weapons and
I would expect that they actually introduce a new villain, right? But they reuse the same guy in Terminator 2, the liquid metal guy.
Yeah.
Even in Terminator 3, the third one, I mean, they have a female Terminator, right?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But this one, hey, it's kind of look like the second guy, Robert Patrick from Terminator 2, but it's played by this Korean. Yeah.
Oh, it's a Korean actor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they cast a Chinese guy just for the Chinese market.
Similar.
Well, the Korean market is pretty good too.
Yeah. I mean, they're close. They pretty much like Korean actors are hot right now. Okay.
Yeah. It feels like you said like the Total Recall remake, and it feels kind of like the RoboCop remake too. Like it's there. It's not really necessary. They're not really bringing anything new to the table. It's kind of like they just took the scenes that we remember, the most memorable scenes and the most memorable lines from the first two Terminator movies, and stick it into this with younger actors and Arnold to connect the old franchise to the new franchise and potential franchise and start anew here.
Okay. Do you think the movie is going to do well? And if so, I mean, if not, then is or number 2 and number 3 is going to get made, since I think they're planning to film that back to back.
It's hard to say which other movies have they brought back. I mean, the third Terminator film did pretty well, and Arnold was in that. The Christian Bale one did okay, not spectacular, and Arnold wasn't in that. The only thing is, I wonder if it's kind of like Dumb and Dumber. I think Jim Carrey is still a way more bankable star right now than Arnold.
Yes, but remember that Arnold went to serve as governor of California, and I think his image took a hit.
That's the thing. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like he's recovering from that or have recovered at all. If anything, he have went down even further.
I know. I mean, when you are an actor, right? Your personal life and your public life are two different things. But once you are a public figure, I mean, like you are a public figure when you're an actor, but once you're a government official, People really hate you because of the policy that you set.
Yeah, and he also cheated on his wife.
That too, and he, there's some backroom deals where he pardons, as a favor, he pardoned some businessman's son from some murder charges or something like that. Yeah, so.
So the thing is Arnold still a draw, and you're putting him back into his most popular film franchise. I don't think it's gonna do well. What about you?
Let me see. I think it's gonna do as well, because of the international market.
Yeah, the internationally, I think you'll do well, but
domestically, I think it's gonna do as well as Terminator Salvation, the one with Christian Bale. Maybe a little bit less, but I think it's gonna around that ballpark. Maybe 100 plus or minus, 20 million.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I feel.
Yeah, I think that figure's about right.
Even though it's a huge range, but I don't think it's gonna do 200, right?
It's not gonna do 200. It's not even gonna do 150. I say 100 is about right. 100, around 100 or less.
Right. Because right now, I don't think people like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right now, he has zero draw. I mean, Sabotage came in and out of the theaters, and The Last Stand didn't do that well. Remember the last Die Hard movie is a good time to Die Hard, or
Die Hard 4, right? Okay.
So that one, that's the thing. That one didn't do that well domestically. It only made about 68 million?
67, 68, yes.
Okay. I'm wondering if this Terminator movie would end up being like that, since Arnold's no longer a draw. Even 100 million might be a little too optimistic.
All right, then let's leave it at that, and we'll come back and revisit this when it hit theaters. Okay, let's jump right into last week's box office. According to Box Office Mojo, last weekend was it tied for the worst weekend of the year.
Not surprising.
Everything was down by more than half, the box office for pretty much every movie, the top movies.
I kind of said last week that the weekend following Thanksgiving is usually pretty bad. And that's why none of the studios bother releasing any new films. Or if they release one, they didn't even bother to promote it, like The Pyramid.
Yeah, that one it was released in 589 theaters. Location.
Yeah, that one was more because of a contractual.
Pretty much Fox just wanted to dump the movie. Somewhere because it needs to be released in theaters. That's a good spot.
Right. So Mockingjay.
Okay, Mockingjay, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 came in first, as expected, but it only brought in 21.6 million estimate. And it's a 62% drop from the previous week.
Like we said last week, it's still pretty far off from the previous one.
Catching Fire.
Yeah, Catching Fire. And it looks like at best it'll do it'll definitely reach 300, but probably 320, 330. And it's not going to get to 400 million like the previous one.
No, it won't. It probably won't reach 350, either.
But the next one will probably clean house.
Probably, because it's the final concluding film. Until they reboot the Twilight series, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
They're just licking their chops, waiting for the right time to do a reboot. Okay, so let's move on to number 2. Penguins of Madagascar, coming in at 11.1 million, has made nearly 50 million domestic and 143 million worldwide.
Right now, it's definitely following the trajectory of Turbo. Maybe 70, 75 million, 80 million.
Certainly it won't reach 100 million.
Yeah, and you know what else? You know how last week we were talking about this being a Fox film and not a DreamWorks animation film?
Yeah.
It is made by DreamWorks Animation. It's just Fox is releasing it. So we were both right.
I was kind of surprised that it didn't do that well, even though like the Penguins were pretty popular in the original Madagascar movies. They're pretty much the comic relief, right?
Yeah.
But
like you said, like Rob Snyder, they're only good in small dosages.
That's true. So and this proves that with a movie of their own, there's nowhere else to go, right? I mean, they kind of serve to mix it up, to give a break to the main storyline.
And I mean, I guess there is enough if they budget accordingly. I mean, if they did this for 70 million, then it'll be considered a moderate success. But they pour in 125 or 130 million.
Right. But like we said last week, it's possible that this is kind of like a stealth bonus for the animators. Okay, let's move on to Horrible Bosses 2, coming in number 3, 8.4 million. Domestic total about 36. It was number 5 last weekend. Now it's number 3. So, but then again, like between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot, there's only like a couple 100K difference.
This is doing really disappointing business. So far, it's only made 36 million. It looks like at best it'll do 60 million. The first one may nearly twice that.
I just feel that fans of the first movie probably saw it. I mean, the diehard ones will pay to see this. Those who have kind of passing interest may think that, it's not bringing anything new here. It's just a sequel for the sake of a sequel. A money grab, pretty much. And we're seeing the box office reflecting that.
Should we jump on to Big Hero 6?
Big Hero 6 coming in number 4, about 8 million.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Penguins of Madagascar and Big Hero 6 dropped by nearly 60%. And I'm wondering if it's because this weekend is shopping weekend, where they leave their kids home and they go and shop instead of watching movies.
It's entirely possible.
They take their kids out to shopping with them. Who knows?
Yeah. But it's in any case, there's a big drop in the total box office. No one's not no one, but people are not going to theaters. Maybe they're going to shop or do other stuff.
Right.
Either visiting or whatever on the road. And they're not in theaters. And it's not because of the movies. Studios know that as you say, the weekend after Thanksgiving, it's gonna be they're gonna do pretty poor. But it made 177 million domestic, coming in at 240 worldwide. Still has a ways to go because it hasn't opened in some of the major markets like China yet.
And then Christmas is coming in a couple of weeks and New Year, so it still has a lot of time to make a lot more money.
Okay, then moving on to number 5, Interstellar, 7.7 million, already 158 million domestic, and worldwide it's closing in at 600 million.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, number 6, Dumb and Dumber 2. 4.2 million, 78 million domestic. As you say, it's doing well since it only costs 40 million to make, and it crosses the 110 million or 117 million worldwide.
Although domestically it's still way behind the first film, though.
True, but you're talking about a movie like 20 years after like the first movie.
Yeah.
It did well considering, and you're talking about the Farrelly. Is it the Farrelly brothers?
The Farrelly brothers.
Yeah, Farrelly brothers, and and their brand of comedy, it's going down. I think it did well in spite of that. I think people cared about the characters in Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, not the younger actors.
I think when you consider the budget. How much did the first one make? Did they make 120?
The first one, I don't think it let's see, made like 127 domestic.
This one looks like it'll probably top out at around 90, which is not bad considering, like you said, the 20-year gap and they made it for only 40 million.
I think New Line and Warner Brothers are pleased with the performance because I think for a long time they don't really want to make a second movie.
I think they always wanted to make a second movie. It's just getting Jim Carrey to agree to it.
No, that's true. Remember that there was this beef with Jim Carrey about pulling out? because there's some disagreement with the movie's budget, either with the budget or the script or something, but it's mostly over money. And I think they all agreed to come back at 40 million just to get it done.
It's not exactly a home run, but it did decent enough. Do you think it did good enough that they'll say, hey, let's do 3? Because it did experience a huge drop-off after the first weekend. I don't think it's the home run that they expected, but it did well enough where they're not disappointed. How's that? Somewhere in the middle.
But Universal distributed this movie. I think there will be a part 3 if another studio wants to come in and fund the project. Because right now I'm looking at this, like the first movie was New Lines, right?
Yeah.
The second movie, Dumb and Dumber, was in production with Universal. So Universal come in and say, hey, we'll put in some money as well. So I feel that if a third movie is going to get made, it'll be probably under the same structure, where that they don't want to take the risk. New Line doesn't want to take the risk, and they want to offload, share the risk with another studio.
This is not the kind of movie where they have to split costs, because it's not like those $200 million budgeted films where they have to get other studios involved. Because you're talking about 40 million here. To major studios like Universal or Warner Brothers, that's kind of chump change. I mean, it definitely opened huge, but the drop-off was also huge.
Yeah, I think this is part of nostalgia working. People like the first movie, and they want to see a sequel, and just to, I think, complete the story, really.
Yeah, and I think they saw the sequel and it wasn't that good, and so it didn't expand from that core fan base. It didn't get beyond that core fan base.
Yeah, so I think people just want to get closure on the series and moved on.
It's not the kind of movie where they need closure. It's just fans like the first film. They wanted to see more of them. They saw it.
You know what I mean, right? Is that they want to see them. They like the character in the first movie, and then they want to see something else with them in it before saying goodbye to them.
Sure.
Okay, Dumb and Dumber 3 probably won't happen.
Yeah, probably won't happen. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to number 7, The Theory of Everything. 2.6 million last weekend. Made 13.5 million total so far. Still doing well.
Still doing steady.
Still holding on, right? It's in its 5th week of release. It's made for 15 million, so it's closing in on its budget. And then, and as far as I know, it hasn't opened overseas, so there's still ways to go. And number 8, still hanging around, is Gone Girl. 1.4 million, 162 million domestic, and 336 million worldwide.
That's very good for
it's surprising to me that it made so much, because I didn't have high hopes for it in the first place, but it kept proving me wrong.
This way, you're probably right. I don't think it's gonna reach 200 million.
No, it won't.
So let's move on to The Pyramid.
The Pyramid is a Fox-released horror movie.
He pretty much just dumped it out there.
As you say, probably an obligation release.
Yeah.
It made 1.3, 1.4 million. I don't think it's going to expand any more than the 509 theaters. And you probably won't see any promotional material for this.
It's pretty much they dumped it out there. It's done.
Yeah, there's a horror. You go to the theaters and you're surprised that they're releasing a horror movie that you haven't heard of. Yep. And if it piques your interest, great. If not, then you just go on to watch the movie that you want to watch in the first place.
And they're going to focus on the video market,
which is probably the intention. Okay, so number 10, Birdman, 1.1 million. In its 8th week, total almost 19 million domestic.
Let's move on to Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler, number 11, coming in number 11, 1 million about.
Yeah, the studio decided to open it up in 1,000 theater again.
Why do you think they decided to do that? Because it got nominated for some award or something?
Definitely an extra push for the award season, just so that people involved or people in the industry don't forget about it come award time. And it is well reviewed on Rotten Tomatoes. It's what, 94% or something like that?
It's 95.
95%, yeah. So it's very well reviewed. All these other indie films, it already made 30 million, so definitely a was push.
Yeah. Before we were disappointed in its box office performance because we thought it was a big budget movie. But then you notice that it was only made for like $8 or $9 million.
Yeah.
Which put it into the indie crowd. So
yeah.
Judging by that, it's pretty successful.
Yeah, the equalizer is no longer showing here. Oh, here it goes. Okay, so it's number 21. It hit 100 million.
Well, like I said last weekend, it probably crossed over already.
Yeah.
It might be lagging somewhere. Like I'm sure there are some theaters that Box Office Mojo didn't poll. So right now it's just confirmed that this week that it crossed 100 million domestic.
Right.
Just so you know, Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas is still on the list somewhere. Number 33, 128K. Total, it made 2.6 million so far.
That's way better than I expected.
And Nicolas Cage, Left Behind, the Left Behind reboot, is still in theaters somehow. Made about 65K and nearly 14 million domestic.
All right, so what's opening this week?
Let's see, the new openings this week: Exodus, Gods and Kings, the Ridley Scott movie about Moses and Ramses. A movie called Top 5.
Oh, that's the Chris Rock.
Yes.
Is that being released wide, or is that
It's kind of wide-ish, kind of limited. 975 theaters.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of wide.
But not super wide.
Not super wide. Not everywhere there's a theater.
Yeah, not Exodus wide.
Right. Not Exodus wide. So, so Exodus. Christian Bale playing Moses. Ridley Scott directing. It has Joe Edgerton playing Ramses. Sigourney Weaver, Ben Kingsley, John Turturro, Aaron Paul. Good cast. None of them are Egyptian. What do you think?
I think it might do the kind of numbers that Noah did, which is probably open in the 30-35 million range and then finish in the 100 million range.
Yeah, I think it's going to open up in the 30 million range as well. I don't think this one looks as good as Noah, but again, it has a great cast.
Yeah, it has a great cast.
Directed by Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
So just by the names alone, but the talents involved, it looks like it's going to do well. But like you say, it's probably going to do within the 30 million-ish, or a little bit higher range.
Right. It's one of these big, epic. It looks expensive.
Yes.
It has huge battles and.
Yeah, right. And Noah, it's Noah in his first weekend opened to about 43 million.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's gonna make as high as that.
Yeah, I don't think it'll go up that high.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any Christian groups protesting the movie. So it's not going to get any bump from that.
The interesting thing Noah was, I saw it on Blu-ray recently. It's actually more of a fantasy film than a Christian film. That made it more interesting to me. And that's probably what Christian groups protest about. You basically made a Harry Potter instead of something that we believe in and what we read from the book.
Well, my feeling, right, is that if no Christian group is protesting your movie, then you didn't make a good Christian movie.
You mean like Passion of the Christ?
Yes. I mean, there's nothing controversial. There's nothing thought-provoking. It's just pretty much, speaking to the choir. If no one's protesting your movie, you didn't make a good movie.
Basically, if no one protests your movie, they don't care enough about it. And if they don't care about it, then it's probably not going to do well.
Yeah, it's gonna cater to the Christian crowd, and probably gonna end up pretty boring for the rest of the general audience.
Just from watching the trailer, this looked like it. They try to make it into just your typical event blockbuster.
Yeah, they try to make Ben-Hur.
Yeah, they try to make Ben-Hur. Yeah. The reviews aren't that great though. 44% on the tomato meter. I think Noah was better reviewed. Noah was in like 70% or 75%. Yeah, I think this will probably, just because It's being released during the holidays, so probably open up in the 30-35 million range and then finish in the 100 million range.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Top 5? Directed, written by Chris Rock. He's going to be in the movie too. Rosario Dawson, Gabrielle Union, Cedric the Entertainer, Tracy Morgan, Kevin Hart.
It's getting great reviews so far, though, 88%.
It's a comedy about a comedian who made his wedding into a reality show.
I like Chris Rock's previous movie, the documentary that he did.
Good Hair?
Yeah, Good Hair, yeah. Chris Rock actually has more in him than just comedy.
Yeah, sure. But then again, it's only released in 975 theaters, so it's, even if it has a good per theater average, it's not going to make that much.
Yeah. So what do you think? 5 million?
Let's see. Can it make 10? You think it can make 10 with that amount of theaters?
It can. It can. If it does 10, I think it would be. I think they would consider it a solid debut.
Okay, so how about I'll put it between 8 and 10.
I'm thinking more like a notch below that, like 6 to 8. How's that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing limiting the movie is the number of theaters, really. I think because it has a good, well-known cast, and because it's a genre film made pretty much for the black audience, and I think it's going to do well. I mean, if not 8 to 10, then a notch below that, like you say, 6 to 8, which is still pretty good.
I guess we'll see.
Okay, so I think that's the end of our podcast. We will come back next week to see how our predictions pan out.
Okay.
All right, so remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
All right, see you guys.